During that controversial CNN town hall event, Donald Trump publicly insulted a woman the day after a jury found him liable for sexually abusing and defaming her. Intrigued? Then click that like and subscribe and enjoy the video. So we're continuing our extensive unpacking of the very controversial CNN town hall of Donald Trump, former president of the United States, potential future president of the United States, the Republican frontrunner by a mile, and a guy who, the day before the event, was found liable by a jury of sexually abusing and defaming a woman, E. Jean Carroll, in 1996, and ordered to pay her $5 million in punitive and compensatory damages. And then the day after, Donald Trump is given this platform by CNN and takes that opportunity to lie about the situation and publicly insult her, while he's also trying to appeal the outcome of that civil case. So, whatever. There's a lot to unpack here. Let's get into it.
Usually you leave office, you say, I'm sorry, but I'm going to back home. I'm back home to my family and everything. I'm going to be resigned. My poll numbers went up, and they went up with the other fake charge, too. Because what's happening is they're doing this for election interference. This woman, I don't know her. I never met her. I have no idea who she is. I had a picture taken years ago with her and her husband, nice guy, John Johnson. He was a newscaster, very nice.
So let's stop right there. So again, this man who is a malignant narcissist and pathological liar and deeply, profoundly stupid, just profoundly dumb, just lied and contradicted himself a split second later, publicly on CNN. I don't know this woman. I've never met this person. I've never seen her before in my life. Now, we did take a photograph, and I know her husband, John Johnson, and gives his profession and then describes him. Nice man. These notions are mutually exclusive. There's no way to reconcile this. He did know her. He did meet her. He can recognize her. He took a photograph with her. He's met her husband. He recalls her husband's name, recalls his profession, calls him a nice guy. And this is, again, coming from Donald Trump, who has met a ton of people and isn't particularly interested in them, right? Because he's so demonstrably self-absorbed. But he said all of these things, which again are mutually exclusive. There's no way to reconcile these things. Either the first sentence is true or the second sentence is true. They both cannot be true simultaneously. He lied. He lied to your face. He lied to Caitlin Collins' face. He lied to the CNN audience's face. So, again, his attorneys are probably pulling their hair out because he's trying to appeal the outcome of that case in real time. So, anyway, let's continue.
This man, she called him an ape. Happens to be African American. Called him an ape. The judge wouldn't allow us to put that in. Her dog or her cat was named Vagina. The judge wouldn't allow to put that in. All of these things, but with her, they could put in anything. Access Hollywood.
Okay, so there again, not an attorney, but the reason, if what he's saying is true, that a judge wouldn't allow him to cite a hearsay situation where she may have referred to her black husband by a racial epithet, and also cite the weird name vagina of a pet. The reason is because that's not germane to the case, right? Let's take everything, stupidly, but just for the sake of argument, let's take everything that Donald Trump just said at face value, which you shouldn't, by the way. Donald Trump does not deserve the benefit of the doubt. Just for the record, he's such an established pathological liar. You are not obligated, and as a matter of fact, I would say you are obligated to not give this man the benefit of the doubt and to take nothing at face value. But for the sake of argument, just to prove how screwed Trump is logically here and how screwed Trump supporters are logically here on this particular point, everything Trump said could be true. Perhaps E. Jean Carroll once said something racist about her husband, and perhaps she did give her dog or cat or whatever it is an awkward name. That has no bearing, and it has absolutely nothing to do with whether or not Donald Trump sexually assaulted her in 1996, because racists can be sexually assaulted. People who have pets with strange names can be sexually assaulted. This doesn't disprove anything. It would just be this weird non sequitur character attack. That's why a judge wouldn't allow such information. But invoking the Access Hollywood tape in which Trump famously boasted about grabbing women by the genitalia, that is relevant to Trump's character and Trump's conduct in establishing that Trump is the sort of person to do such a thing that he is alleged to have done to E. Jean Carroll. That's the difference. Let's continue.
of
anything.
9 people who found
That's right.
you liable of sexual abuse. Do you think that will deter women from voting for you?
No, I don't think so, because I think the whole thing, just so you understand, ready? I never met this woman. I never saw this woman. This woman said, I met her at the front door of Bergdorf Goodman, which I rarely go into other than for a couple of charities. I met her in the front door. She was about 60 years old, and this is like 22, 23 years ago. I met her in the front door of Bergdorf Goodman. I was immediately attracted to her, and she was immediately attracted to me. And we had this great chemistry. We're walking into a crowded department store. We had this great chemistry, and a few minutes later, we end up in a room, a dressing room of Bergdorf Goodman, right near the cash register. And then she found out there were locks on the door, so she said, I found one that was open. She found one. She learned this at trial. She found one that was open. What kind of a woman meets somebody and brings them up, and within minutes, you're playing hanky-panky in a dressing room, okay?
So there you have it. Just this rambling, incoherent recitation of random details, which may or may not be factual, and then a character attack at the end. He's slut-shaming her. He's implying that she's promiscuous and therefore making it up. That's disgusting, right? The fact of the matter is that a jury of 9 people were successfully persuaded by the evidence and were able to come to this conclusion based on a preponderance of evidence in under 3 hours. And by the way, just in case you might be thinking, well, this jury had it in for Donald Trump, he was originally charged with rape. And that same jury said that they could not conclude that the evidence was there that he committed rape, right? So if they were really just gunning for Trump, they would have nailed him with that too, but they didn't, right? Suggesting that they did, as objectively as possible, examine the evidence. They did hit him with sexual abuse charges, or conviction. Not a conviction, I'm sorry, because it's a civil case. They did find him liable for sexual abuse and defamation. So anyway, the case is there, but the fact that Donald Trump would, the very next day, while he's trying to appeal the result of that case, say these things, cast aspersions about E. Jean Carroll and everything else, it's not only disgusting, but it shows the total absence of strategic thought, which is probably not a quality you want in a commander-in-chief or chief executive. So again, there's more to unpack with this CNN town hall, a lot more to unpack, but this is one of the standout moments.